Yeah, I've had no real sort of pushback around people asking me to be anything different to what I am, which is helps me massively, because at last I'm feeling like I don't need to be someone that I'm not. You know, I can be a little bit naive or a little bit emotional or a little bit open. You know, I'll probably say, yeah, I'll probably share too many things sometimes. I'm going through a bit of an ADHD journey as well at the moment. Someone's basically, it was brilliant for me, but it was quite bizarre. I was sitting on a panel about how to grow digital marketing businesses, and this lovely lady, Amanda Perry. I mean, again, I'm elaborating here a little bit just for like the for the blog, like. But it was very much like the conversation was like, "Hello, I'm Amanda. You've got ADHD," sort of thing. She saw tendency. She's basically
Is that how she introduced herself to everyone?
That's the joke, but not so much. No.
No.
She's she's been diagnosed with ADHD, and she's built out a community around it. And it's, you know, I haven't been diagnosed just yet, nor would I self-diagnose myself. But I did want to explore it, because the more I followed her community, I started to realise that some of the coping mechanisms around this brain, which is just like constantly on, which leads a lot into me not sleeping and a bit of anxiety and over worry and all the stuff that I bet most people have. These coping mechanisms, you know, to slow down that brain, were really helpful. And actually, although I've not medicated, 'cause a lot of people use medicine to slow those endorphins down or whatever it might be, the science that sits in the brain that's very different to every human. I haven't done that yet, but I've definitely explored it. So I'm with the NHS at the moment, and we're going through this sort of like, the direction of travel looks like I have some sort of neurodiversity. I'm still challenging myself a little bit by that old sort of approach to things, as in, like, I think my old, like, so if I spoke to my dad, maybe my dad might be very much like, well, you shouldn't necessarily pigeonhole yourself. You know, it might just be the fact that you're overthinking a little bit, you know, like a bit more.
Yeah.
And I'm challenging, I suppose there's a challenge is, do I lean into this new way of looking at things and put myself in a box, for want of a better word, or do I not, and just understand that this is the way I am? So I'm looking at that just out of curiosity for now. We've all got kids, so I suppose for me as well, I want to see whether how I support them if they go through those challenges, or I start seeing some sort of, like, I see a lot of me in my son Blake. He's quite socially awkward, but he's very, you know, he's starting to love drama. So you want him to do a performance, he can do it, even though he's really quite shy.
Does he puts on that mask?
Yeah, because he's playing someone else, and I think this is why sometimes people think I'm super confident. It's not. I turn up and play this role. But back to that conversation around me not being told or asked to be anything different, I think he's making me more relaxed and comfortable in my own skin. We didn't touch upon it that much earlier, but my name's Peter, right? Everyone knows me as PJ, yeah? And I'll tell you why if you want.
Go on.
Okay, well, it's
not Jonathan.
No, it's not. No. Although this group says, hello, Jonathan. I don't know who Jonathan is. Was he last guest?
Yeah, hi,
He's last guest.
Jonathan.
Yeah, it's not even Peter Jonathan, it's Peter James. But yeah, Peter James Ellis, I can imagine. Marston Green Hospital, it's not there anymore. Where were you guys?
Marston Green. Yeah.
There we go. It's not there anymore. Yeah. Legends. Yeah. Marston Green legends. Have you ever seen a photograph of Marston Green Hospital? There's a photograph of me coming out. I think it was with Tom. I can't remember exactly. It's like a wood hut. It's like in the middle, by the park, not far from there. It's like, I mean, it might have just been an entrance, but it looked like one of those Oggy blocks. Remember, like, yeah, it wasn't like the hospital's Heartland and stuff like that.
Ring a bell, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a shed. But anyway, I won't imagine the shed for now. I'll imagine more of a gracious, beautiful, palatial sort of like room. My mum's holding me up, obviously, Lion King-esque. Peter James Ellis. And then my auntie Janet from Tile Cross was like, oh, PJ. And it just stuck. So that's it. I've had cardigans with PJ on and everything from an early age. But it's quite weird, actually, because I think the Peter thing through school, so there's some people from school that will call me Pete. If I say hello to them, all right, Pete, and that just shakes me. But I think because my teachers would have called me Peter Ellis, yeah, yes, sir, whatever it might be, And then when I was a lawyer, even though throughout my whole application, it was always PJ, my business cards were always Peter. And I'm like, I won't respond to Peter. I won't answer the phone, Peter, or I won't say my name's Peter. But that's your name. And without knowing that little sort of ask of people for me to be someone else has really played a part in my life without me knowing.
I can't remember when I stopped calling you Pete.
You used to call me Pete. Yeah, because I probably would have introduced myself as Pete at school.
Yeah.
Because people used to call me
Pete. Then it evolves.
And then Pete, yeah. Well, it goes from, the irony is, it goes from PJ, which is an abbreviation itself. People abbreviate even further, but without me ever telling them, just call me Peach. So, but yeah, it's, has that been a challenge, calling myself PJ? Because, kids can be cruel, can't they? BJ, all that sort of stuff. And especially with the Big Brother experience. I suppose, if anything, it's made me sort of stand out a bit. PJ is a different type of name, isn't it? It's not common.
Rings better than PE, doesn't it?
Sorry?
It's better than PE.
Yeah, PE. Well, I've been called P Head a couple of times, but I don't think that's got anything to do with my initials.
I saw that.
But yeah, so no, I'm not being asked to be anything different, and that's why I'm really enjoying this BBC WM stuff. I'm going out talking to genuinely lovely people from different projects, community groups, charities, businesses, whatever it might be. And although the conversations are pretty friendly, and they always start with all right mate, or all right bab, or whatever it might be, that's the whole thing. You start seeing how important conversations are. Like this stuff that you're doing now, I bet you're getting so much out of it, because you're unpacking things that you don't often. You're being asked questions that you sometimes ask yourself, and then when you answer them publicly and openly, it's almost you're releasing it from your body, or actually testing it. Oh yeah, actually that's probably the right answer.
It has been said it feels therapeutic, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's a great word. It is therapeutic, and I think if I was going to be an advocate for anything now, what I love about the BBC WM stuff is that I am an advocate almost for storytelling, telling people stories. Making sure people are comfortable to talk, because that's all you see now, isn't it? People on the screens, I saw the other day, and I do it myself. I saw the other day, this guy was walking his dog, most beautiful dog lover now. I've rescued a dog 4 years ago from the Birmingham Dog's Home. Changed my life, genuinely. And he was walking this dog in the most beautiful of parks, Sutton Park. You might see a LinkedIn there, I go there quite a bit. And he's on his phone. I'm like, crackers?
These dog leads now that have incorporated a phone holder.
Are you joking?
So
where'd you get it from? No, it's
all good pets at home and all good retail.
There we go, mate. There we go.
But yeah, I know exactly what you're saying there. The whole idea of walking the dog, being out in nature, letting your mind expand away from everything that you deal with day to day. But you don't. You go out, you open a phone, and you
do
stay immersed in, say, LinkedIn, business, and
I wish that I don't think that's going to change anytime soon. But I think as we were touching upon it, I think if I was going to advocate anything now, and this is me talking to myself as much as it is to my children and the future generation of Birmingham, is just to be more comfortable having those conversations. We're seeing mental health is just everywhere, isn't it? It's going through the roof. We're seeing these kids be dictated by the algorithm. A poor lady who I think she responded or reacted to an Instagram post that said, "Are you lonely?" Yes, and then all of a sudden, 2 weeks later, the algorithm's feeding her ways to kill herself and stuff. So we live in this world. Yeah, I think that led to the Child Safety Act being changed actually around these big businesses' responsibilities around algorithm and what content be fed. But I don't care how many times you ask businesses like that, and I'm not saying I know enough to comment on it, but it's difficult to manage what people are consuming because there's just so much data and information out there. So they're being dictated by conversations that are post-truth, not real. What's that saying? Comparison's the thief of all joy. So you're comparing yourself to everyone all the time. He's only had that job for 2 weeks. He's got a Lamborghini. Come on. It's his it's his whatever knackered out car, he's sprayed lime green, or he's rented it or whatever. You know, we live in this weird world.
Fake it till you make it and all that jazz to a certain extent. But there's, like you say, and that goes full circle back into imposter syndrome. That you just think, you see people on LinkedIn and on Facebook and it's sometimes hard to differentiate.
Yeah.
Oh man,
you're
right. Fair play, they're doing well, I like that or whatever. But there's always
you've got now as well is navigating between what's real and what's AI as well. I mean, the whole AI explosion is all of a sudden, that's not even necessarily a real person that you're looking at. Well, you know, there was an AI awards, and they give an award to the best AI influencer and AI influencers.
Why?
So there was an awards ceremony around,
and so
imaginary,
and AI chose who won those AI awards for AI.
No, so the irony of that is the human panel decided which AI influencer won the awards.
Yeah, I mean,
and they've got hundreds of thousands of followers. Yeah. And it's literally pictures of women, like an AI-generated image of a woman in a bikini on holiday, standing on the Alps, standing in Paris.
Yeah,
but this is a real thing now. This is a genuine award ceremony.
Get me on that spaceship to Mars, man.
I feel like I'm turning into my granddad.
Yeah, I thought
more and more.
And I think that's, you know, I think that should protect our kids and those generations, because you know we come, you know, it comes from a place of we care. It's not like, oh, we don't want to. You know, I'm happy for advancements in all walks of life, but the AI thing scares me because I'm sure it can do some brilliant things. I mean, I just listened to a piece of news where it can start being, from a diagnostic point of view, you know, see cancer a lot earlier than before, all that sort of stuff. Yeah. Tick, 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 tick. But fake people that are going to give me fake news that I think, you know, there was one, scammers now are using AI to clone people's voices. So Minnie, my daughter, for instance, they get hold of her voice or whatever, and you can get that pretty easily nowadays. And my wife might get a call and it'll be Minnie saying she's in trouble and, you know, there's some sort of exchange required. I need you to send me this money. You know, it's just, there's nasty people out there, and I think, yeah, we need to be protected in that regard. But yeah, and that just comes back to that whole point of where, you know, just put that down. That's not a phone, but you know what I mean. Put it down. And it is difficult sometimes. I'm the worst enemy sometimes. I will watch a film or a television program, football match, and at half time, the first thing I'm doing, or even if the corner's not taken as quickly, I'm turning my phone on. What am I looking for? You know, what am I waiting to see? I'm waiting to see things that are going to make me anxious. Whereas in fact, if I just pick the phone up and spoke to my dad, or just turned to my left and spoke to my wife, I can tell you all day long which one's going to be the most beneficial. The phone? No. Yeah. You know, so yeah.
Doom scrolling, isn't it? This is, I think from COVID especially, this is what's drawn people to it. This is where people are now. And it's endemic because it's created a whole generation of people sitting staring at phones.
Yeah.
From when you couldn't leave the house, there was nothing to do elsewhere. And it's carried over, hasn't it? It's carried over into everyday life. Like I say, looking after and trying to safeguard children around that is it's tricky.
It is. Remember you'd put the family, I don't know, YouTube or whatever, any other platform, you'd put your child-friendly tab on or whatever, and Peppa Pig, you'd still hear her swearing and, you know, talking about. So it's just so difficult to manage. And I think, you know, I'm not a parent that you know is perfect. Far from it. I am an iPad parent at times because this world's a busy world, and you know, if that helps us enable us to do this, which in theory is always for them, I'll do that. You know, I'm not going to be here and preach and say that, you know, you should get your wooden toys out and play Uno every night. It doesn't happen. But I'm, you know, as I get older, and I'm being more grateful for the things that I do. I suppose I'm in a position where I can just concentrate a little bit more, or as much as I can, on having those old school, so like your granddad, relationships that we had with our, well, I didn't have any grandparents, but grandparents and dad when we were kids, you know, the real ones, just chatting, walking, play sport. That's all they want. That's the irony. They don't want the doom scroll. My son, well, he thinks he does.
Yeah.
Because he's, what is it, the endorphins or whatever, he's getting that hit. Yeah, boom, boom, boom. But actually, the second you prize him away from it, and you go to Kingsbury Water Park, it's £4 in, and you just walk, he's just a different person, and that's what they want. So yeah, that's you know, watch this space. I told Kelly, I'm definitely not going to set up a charity after help Harry help others, set Love Brum up. 10 years later, I now am no longer officially involved with Love Brum. This is the first sort of platform I've announced that on. 2 likes. Yeah, you too. I'm 3 likes. No, not because, wow, look at me. It was just, I said to Tim, I said, look, 10 years I've been doing it for. I am a big believer that there's some new blood coming through in Love Brum, a different energy. They sometimes look at me still for make the decisions. I'm not the boss. You know, I'm a dinosaur compared to some of these brilliant kids, you know, is that right word, on the block. So I've walked away. I'm not a trustee anymore. I'm still involved and on the WhatsApps. I'll always support it, of course. But sometimes I think you've done enough sometimes and you've just got to let other people move in. I'm not sure exactly what Tim's doing, but he's still around it. So I promised Kelly I'll never go back into a charity, but I've set another one up. Yeah, I have, yeah. Called For Parents, From Parents. So I'm not sure when I'm going to launch it, but I've got it all set up officially set up as a CIC, which is a community interest company. So you can actually, you can run it as a business really, but it's a social enterprise. So the output has to be for good. And I did it that way because I thought I might be able to create jobs at the same time. I've got no plans to make money from it. But what it is it's a platform for parents. Born out of my experience, Blake, you know, my boy, he went to a school that he didn't know anyone at, didn't know anyone, moved out of the 4X catchment area into Streetlit. Excuse me, he went to a school where genuinely didn't know anyone. Going back to this, like, you know, imposter syndrome, self-awareness, whatever, he's very similar to me, very shy as a kid. And he went into a very dark place very quickly. And we had some conversations I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy, you know, about what he wanted to do and where he wanted to go. And you can only imagine what that is. I won't say to get emotional, but I still like to think, you know what, hang on a second. I felt a real bad parent because I thought I'd let him down. I was responding to him because of the way it made me feel. So now he's flourishing and he's got friends and it's okay and he doesn't want to do the things that he told me he wants to do. Even though there's no ties in his room anymore, that's all gone. He thinks ties live downstairs because that's where ties live. No, they don't. I took all his room out. His bed that was up on the ceiling went down to on the floor, all that. And I still live in fear that he might have some mental health issues. Like I think most kids will growing up. I didn't know where to turn. You know, you phone the NHS, it's, you know, struggling. You know, I was lucky to be able to pay for private counselling, but what counselling do you want? You know, what is it? What does he need? And then when I started to talk to more parents, it was bizarre. It's like when you finish with a girl that drives a red Mini and you see red Minis everywhere. It's like gutted, like crying every night. Yeah, please let me back. It was like that. Every parent I was speaking to had this weird like connection with it because they'd gone through similar situations. So one lady, you probably know her, so I won't name her anyway, but she was, her daughter had issues around mental health. She was really struggling. And it was manifesting or it was coming out in her, manifesting, I don't know, in OCD, sort of around cleanliness. So she was like cleaning herself from the shower that she was in. So she was in there for 3 hours sometimes. And she didn't know where to go. So private counselling didn't help. Anyway, she was talking to someone about her daughter, and this lady, randomly, her daughter had been through the same thing and said, well, we tried a nutritionist in the end. And this lady was like, nutritionist, what do you mean? I said, yeah, just try it. So she got advice to go and see a nutritionist. It fixed it. So I started to think, actually, there's a platform here whereby it could be a peer-to-peer community group where parents, just a talking shop, coffee, you know, it's like the board you can't afford, you know, all these networking events, like, oh, what challenge are you having in your workforce at the moment? Could be translated very quickly into like your own private life. And then maybe building out some sort of like a playbook or a work, what's the word, like toolkit as to how to navigate these conversations. Because I'm lucky in the fact that when I got a bit angry, I tried the angry mode, don't be silly, you know, get on with it, you know, blah, blah, blah. To a point, even though I softened it a lot and quickly, because I spoke to Kelly and Kelly's a lot more sensitive and good at those conversations.
Diplomatic.
Yeah, we were lucky. We come out the other side. Some parents might not have. That might have drove my son to do things that I would never dream of him doing. So I think some toolkits as to how. I mean, this information's all out there. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't have anywhere to go. Like, you know, and I think it's almost like the post office scandal, and that guy brought people together to have a similar conversation, and their journey then became more united. They had that community to talk to, and I think that's what I'd like to do. So I built the website. It's all ready to go. I'm just not pressing go on it just yet because, because I'm asleep by 2 p.m. after these early starts at BBC WM. So I've got about 10 jobs on at the moment. So, yeah, but watch this space. I'll definitely be going again. Definitely.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a space in the market for it, isn't there? So as parents, you just kind of, very insulating job, isn't it? You do things and most of the time it feels like you're doing the wrong things.
100%. You beat yourself up there, yeah.
Yeah.
We haven't got the Bible. We haven't got a work, playbook or whatever it is. It's a challenge, and these kids are going through challenges that you and I certainly wouldn't have gone through. Kids are following them around now, WhatsApp to a point. I didn't have many fights. You couldn't fight them out of a paper bag, but
that's it. They're never off the clock, are they? All of a sudden, you're taking the bullying from school, 100%. And it's coming home with you, and it's going to your room with you.
Yeah, and it's. I've only ever done this once, but I looked at my son's messages when this was all going on, and I saw the way these kids talk to one another, and it looks so aggressive. It's not, because it's just a different way they, bro. It's very monosyllabic, isn't it? It's not like, how are you today? How's your mum? Did you have a nice walk today? It's like, yo, we come in, or it's like very aggressive. Mm. But now I know that's how they talk. I'm more comfortable with it. But there are like little nuances when I start to look at different people. I thought, God, this seems so aggy for a 12, 13-year-old kid. Like, you had to go home and be on that all night. It just feels like quite ag. And
Claire does it. Claire goes.
Does she check?
She does, yeah. On the iPad and stuff. But might be a little bit different because Caitlin's actually in tomorrow, and she's a girl.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Different stages, haven't it?
It's completely different. But then you can tell with her. So we had things recently which are going to be affecting her mental health. But she'll be fine one minute, and I know that that's hormones, and I'll get told a lot of information that probably I don't need to know because the mum can sort that out or whatever. But I know that's a lot of to do with hormones and age. But these conversations and these friendship groups, that it's different to when we were kids and stuff. And even going back to what you just said then, if we have a ding dong, we'll have a fight or whatever. And I know we're lads and stuff, but even with girls, they'll have a fight, and then you walk in your door and you've got the safety of your house, and you can speak to your mum and dad and your brothers and sisters. This is just constant online, can be going on till midnight when they're supposed to be in bed, and it's just never ending. And we struggle to get our heads around that, I think, a little bit as old school parents.
Yeah, and not necessarily friend groups either, though, are they? The peer groups.
Yeah,
it's school, which isn't friends. Yeah, you know what it was like in the playground. What starts with a gentle ribbing then becomes something else, doesn't it? And then someone else will join in because they don't want to be seen.
I remember some of the kids that got it, and you think now, wow, if that was just, it wasn't nice then.
Yeah.
But for that poor kid to have that at them all day long, you can see why they're having so many issues at the moment. I went to, I'm presenting a ball for NSPCC in October, and their main offering is Childline. Childline.
Yeah, they were down the Blues, weren't they, last year?
Amanda Sinnott and Gary and that, they're down the Blues, aren't they, with, obviously with Arthur, that scandal.
Yeah.
And I listened into a few calls. Not sure as to say that. I think I can because I was being trained to try and do some. Nah, honestly, it was. I don't know. Say it was a Tuesday afternoon. I'm bowling into an office on Hagley Road, thinking they've probably got their feet up. It's probably late night, midnight, 1 o'clock. They'll get these calls. I got there early morning. They'd already had 300 calls. Yeah, bang, 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 bang. Kids. I'm struggling with this. The good thing, I suppose, is that some of the stuff that was coming in wasn't ones that they had to respond to. It was probably like, my boyfriend finished with me and I'm feeling a bit down, which is nice because they know there's an outlet there for somebody to talk to. go back to us saying how important conversation is. But equally, there was a couple here and there that dropped in. You're just like, wow, this is crackers, and it scares me to death thinking our kids have to go through that. Especially my Minnie's 8, you know, Caitlin's 13. I know what's to come with girls, and I'm not saying, so I don't know how girls are different to blokes, but only from my experience, I've been told that girls can be, you know, it's slightly different to blokes falling out, even still now. So yeah, we've got all those challenges to come, and I just think the more we talk and the more platforms there are to allow these kids to talk, including Childline, I mean, what a brilliant thing that is, the better.
I know, I was reading the other day, the actresses from Peep Show, Big Suze and Dobbin, the actresses that play them, they've set something up around the banning of the extracurricular bits on phones, so child-friendly phones to push the government to sell child-friendly, like Nokia 3310 basically, so it can phone, it can text, and you take all the internet and all the rest of the nonsense off it.
There's it might be the same sort of initiative, but there was 2 other ladies who were journos, they might have done things together, and they were going for digital detox sort of thing around, you know, no phones in school sort of thing.
I don't
moving that.
My daughter's just goes to Grace, and they allow phones, not keep it in your bag. They have phones.
Wow.
So you imagine that when you were at school as well, or whatever you've got going on, year 7.
Wow. So you allowed your phone out, like, wow, that's crackers. Yeah.
So imagine that all through the day. So, you know, bullying, whatever else goes on there, and send something to so and so at the back of the class and dig them out during the class as well.
Sure, that's what she's told you. The school be like that.
No, 100%. Yeah. She's not even that way inclined.
Use it as an abacus.
Yeah, well, I'm sure there are reasons, but equally, I think, you know, I'm touching the surface obviously, so I don't know, you know, that seems a bit bizarre, doesn't it? You know, we're talking about potentially becoming less reliant on the phone for the things that they're using the phones for. I mean, I'll phone my son. You won't pick up.
No.
Or I'd WhatsApp him. He won't reply. But he's on it all day.
So I'll go to pick her up at 4 o'clock after netball club or whatever. I can't get hold of her. Where's your phone? It's in my blazer.
Yeah.
Why is it on silence? That's what it's for. So.
Yeah, because I finished school, Dad. I've put it on silent. What? So you have it on at school? Yeah, I think, look, we live in a different world.
Don't answer the phone name. They don't understand phonies for a voice conversation.
I got like, I don't know, probably had a few beers, and it was like, oh, Blake, you know, I'm so proud of your son. You know, thank you for being, you know, brilliant boy that you are. 3 days later, thumb. 3 days later, so he's seen it, right? He has to come down and go, Dad, sorry I didn't get back to you, mate. I really appreciate that. That was so nice of you, Dad. Thank you so much. Just thumbed it. And that's the worst emoji response, isn't it? It's the worst side. It's almost like that should mean don't do that ever again. It might as well be that, because it's not good. Like, always that the first one that comes up on my emojis. It shouldn't be that one.
For our age, you still know, isn't it? That's how they know someone old is texting them when you
still meet at 10:30.
Yeah.
Now it's like,
it's almost like that should be the middle finger.
Yeah.
Son of Louis, that one is so boy. It's that almost good.